It started here. A tiny, sticky piece of paper that changed the world. A revolution born not of size, but of possibility. From stamps that carried the first letters, to labels that sold dreams, stickers became the canvas of a new creative era. But their story didn't stop there. Today, stickers aren't just small, they're massive. They're art. They're tools of transformation, and they're changing everything from culture to commerce. How did we get here? From the tiny to the gigantic, from the practical to the spectacular. This is the story of how stickers reshaped our world. In the beginning, the story of self-adhesive vinyl traces its roots back to some of humanity's earliest innovations in printing and materials. Long before the notion of wrapping a car in vinyl was even conceivable, the foundations of this industry were being laid in the techniques and materials used for printing. Printing, as we know it, began with Johannes Gutenberg's movable-type printing press in the 15th century. This revolutionary invention made it possible to reproduce text and images efficiently and consistently. Early printed works relied on handmade paper, which was crafted from cotton, hemp, or linen rags. These materials provided the durability and smoothness needed for crisp impressions. This form of paper remained the gold standard for centuries. Printing technology advanced significantly in the early 19th century with the invention of lithography in 1798 by Alois Senefelder. Lithography enabled detailed and efficient printing on flat surfaces and later evolved into chromolithography, which allowed for vibrant multicolor printing.
By 19th century, industrialization completely transformed the paper production. Wood pulp became the primary material, replacing expensive rags, and this which made paper significantly cheaper and enabled the mass production of printed materials, literally from books and newspapers to labels and packaging. The combination of more affordable paper and improved printing techniques created the first wave of large-scale visual branding.
In 1840, the world's first adhesive postage stamp, the penny black, was introduced in the United Kingdom. The penny black represented a practical leap forward, a pre-gummed paper that simplified the process of mailing letters. The adhesive backing, activated with moisture, was rudimentary by today's standards, but revolutionary for its time. The development of these early adhesive stamps relied on gum arabic, a natural resin derived from acacia trees. It was applied to the back of the stamps, allowing them to adhere securely to surfaces when moistened. This marked the first step in the evolution of adhesives paired with printed materials, demonstrating how utility and design could merge. Though simple, this innovation set the foundation for the concept of self-adhesive materials that would evolve over the next century. In the late 19th century, adhesive printing moved beyond stamps and into the world of commercial branding.
Companies began using printed labels to identify and promote products, especially in industries like food, medicine, and beverages. These labels were often colorful and eye-catching, designed to stand out on crowded store shelves.
These early labels were printed on paper and adhered with wet glues that often required manual application. While effective, this process was time-consuming and lacked precision. As demand for labels and signs grew, a major challenge emerged. Paper labels quickly degraded in wet or humid environments. In the early 20th century, advancements in material science began to address these limitations.
Initially, the solution was coatings, either through wax or through varnish layers. And these coatings offered a certain degree of protection against moisture, but over time it did not work because the wax was typically threading or wearing off, and the varnish was typically yellowing or brittling over time.
The breakthrough came with the development of polyvinyl chloride, PVC, commonly known as vinyl, in the 1920s.
Salt and water plus electricity produce hydrogen and chlorine gases, which combine to form hydrogen chloride. Coke and limestone are combined to form acetylene. These two gases are then combined in turn, heated, compressed, and cooled, and thus converted to liquid form. The result, vinyl chloride. A single drop contains literally billions of molecules in a seething, chaotic world of their own. The addition of a catalyst to vinyl chloride works a startling change. The catalyst, like a top sergeant who never joins the rookie ranks, still gets plenty of action.
All right, you guys, fall in on the double. Mash it up.
The effect of the catalyst makes these molecules grow and hook together in long, strong chains. This bonding reaction is known as polymerization. It gives rubber and plastics their resilience and toughness, their ability to stretch and return. In this case, the process of polymerization results in the material polyvinyl chloride.
Vinyl was lightweight, flexible, and, most importantly, resistant to water and environmental wear. Initially used for industrial applications like insulation and flooring, its potential for adhesives was soon realized. The first self-adhesive labels were invented in 1935 by Ray Stanton Avery, who created a peel-off label with an adhesive backing. This innovation revolutionized labeling, offering a faster and more convenient solution for industries like retail and packaging. Avery's invention grew quickly in popularity across the U.S., and after World War II, expanded globally as businesses sought efficient labeling solutions.
Self-adhesive has been a revolution compared to the already available wet glue technology under two dimensions, the first being the efficiency, meaning faster to apply, and the second being effectiveness, meaning easier to position the right way. And the adoption of this technology based on the concept of peel and stick paved the way to new market applications like those related to graphics, like the outdoor and indoor signage and advertising, and more recently vehicle wrapping.
These attributes caught the attention of businesses seeking effective, long-lasting outdoor advertising solutions.
Well, the introduction of PVC on vinyl into our industry was like the biggest game changer ever because it was an environmental friendly. It could be, wet. It was UV resistant, and you could do pretty much everything with it. I think it was really a whole game changer of the industry.
The significance of this breakthrough becomes clear when you consider what vinyl replaced. For decades, any graphics on vehicles and storefronts required painstaking hand painting.
Before vinyl lettering, it was a lot of handwork. People were hand painting things. In Australia, they still call the sign writers, which is pretty cool. So you really had to have brush and one paint stuff, and so no computers involved.
Every hand-painted sign meant hours of labor and inevitable variations. For government fleets, these limitations were especially problematic. Police cars, ambulances, and fire trucks required consistent, professional graphics across entire departments. With paint, this meant vehicles out of service for days and inevitable variations between different painters' work. For some entering the graphics industry, like David Schnorr, vinyl offered an escape from everything they disliked about traditional methods.
I was an artist. I hated paint, I hated all that chemicals, I hated all that crap. I hated pen and ink. It was so limited. I loved color, but I couldn't color. I just wasn't into that painting crap. And I, of course, quit painting and as soon as this vinyl came out because I hate the smell of paint and it takes a long time. Vinyl's instantaneous, you know? It's like you get your fix real fast. You create it, it's done, and there you go.
Across the sign industry, professionals were discovering that vinyl offered something paint never could: speed, consistency, and precision. Pre-cut vinyl lettering revolutionized storefronts and vehicle graphics, allowing custom signage to be produced in hours rather than days. While industrial applications drove vinyl innovation, a parallel revolution was happening at the consumer level. Bumper stickers emerged as America's mobile billboard, transforming cars into canvases for political campaigns, tourist destinations, and personal beliefs. These adhesive declarations turned everyday vehicles into statements of identity. Beyond the political and social statements on bumpers, stickers had infiltrated every corner of American culture, from childhood collections to brand loyalty.
As a little kid we would all drive our bicycles to the gas stations, see if they had any race car stickers, you know, any WIN stickers or, you know, any of the, you know, STP stickers or any of those stickers. You got any of those stickers because we wanted to stick them on stuff.
From gas station giveaways to cereal box prizes, from bumper stickers to skateboard decals, these small adhesive graphics had become a universal language of collecting, decorating, and self-expression. While paper stickers relied on offset printing, a modern descendant of lithography that used similar principles, but using modern plates and rollers instead of stone, the more durable vinyl graphics required a different approach. Offset printing's water-based inks simply wouldn't adhere to vinyl's slick, non-porous surface. They would bead up and slide off like water on plastic. And as demand grew to include outdoor signage, fleet graphics, and commercial decals, the market wanted the same strengths that offset printing had delivered to paper: multicolor designs, consistent reproduction, high-volume output, but now on materials that could withstand years of rain, sun, and harsh weather. The first answer came through screen printing method. Adapted from poster art and T-shirt graphics of the 1960s, it used specially formulated inks that could adhere to vinyl's non-porous surface, producing everything from durable bumper stickers to large-scale fleet graphics.
So screen printing, basically, you need to apply each color individually. So if the print has 4 colors, it was a process of 4 times adding the color onto the substrate, whether it is sequentially or whether it is in a row, or so there's the machines that can do that in a row. But essentially, it's dividing the colors into the number of colors that you want to have, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, up to about 6. I've heard of 8 also.
This meticulous process produced bright, weather-resistant graphics that could withstand outdoor exposure for years. As PVC formulations improved throughout the 1970s and 80s, manufacturers began producing larger rolls of vinyl, enabling everything from storefront displays to billboard-sized advertisements. But this same complexity that ensured quality also created significant business challenges.
Having to make use of that technology would mean that to make it profitable and make it work out financially, you need to have quite a number of prints to make that process worthwhile.
The downside to screen printing is the screens itself. They got to store somewhere. And if you did a full color, full graphic for each panel, so you got 15 panels, you got 3 screens per panel. So you're going to end up with 45 screens per side. If it's the same on both sides, it's 45 screens for one trailer. And those have to be stored somewhere. So that's the downside to it, is that's just one customer. Imagine if you had 25, 30 customers. Yeah, it wouldn't be possible to screen print all that. It'd be crazy.
For small businesses and custom orders, full-scale screen printing was prohibitively expensive. While hand cutting remained an option for simple designs, The industry desperately needed an affordable way to produce multicolor graphics. Some attempts to bridge this gap proved to be dead ends.
They came out, there was another phase, which was a short phase, which really didn't have much of an impact, but they came out with a printer that would take a little teeny, just think of a little cassette cartridge, but instead of the ribbon, it was a color. And there were, I think, 4 of these in there, and you could change them out. They were solid colors. And you would take this ribbon, you put it in there, and you put your design in there with your solid colors. And on white vinyl, it would take, and with heat, the vinyl would go through this little cartridge. It would come down on the vinyl, and it would make these ribbon rows. You could actually see the lines, and it made a color. So it was very expensive, because you figure a cassette tape can only hold so much tape. When the tape's gone, you got to do another. Your vinyl, you can't do a big design, you can only do little stuff. So I was very limited to doing mostly, the series I was doing was called IMSA, and all the logos were black and red on a white background, so I could do those. That was pretty much it for, I don't know how much the thing cost, $4,000 or $5,000, I don't remember what it was ridiculous.
While this method proved impractical for large graphics, it showed the industry's hunger for a color printing solution. The foundation was being laid for a digital revolution. In the 1980s, Hewlett-Packard helped pioneer inkjet printing, turning it from a laboratory concept into a mainstream technology that would reshape the printing industry.
Inkjet printing, which is essentially what the name also indicates, it's a jet system, so it's a little tube, a nozzle as we call them, through which a paint or an ink drop is spat or shot down onto the media. And a number of nozzles basically gave you the accuracy of printing onto a surface. So you have a grid onto your media, onto the whatever you're printing it on, and that image was then divided into dots or a raster image. And that made it able for the machine to decide where and when to shoot each color of the ink, right? So it became a binarization or a digitization of an image.
This digital transformation accelerated throughout the 90s. As manufacturers developed specialized inks and new vinyl materials, the pieces began to converge. By the turn of the century, solvent inkjet printers finally delivered what had only been imagined: photorealistic, durable graphics printed directly onto vinyl.
The solvent jet printer came out, and I could only afford the 30-inch, but wow, it could print. You could write your own profiles, which profiles are what is used, the machine reads to produce the colors. So you could get vibrant reds and vibrant purples, and you could get really these incredible colors, and you can make this amazing design. And yeah, 30 inches isn't very big, but it's the side of a car. You know what I mean? So you could do the whole side image on the car in one shot with all the cool design element and everything.
The digital process as such, not just inkjet, but I think the digital process in general, replaces a much more archaic analog system into something that's it's faster, it's more versatile, it's more adapted to change. It can be done in smaller volumes, so if you need to make just one print, you can do it. If you need to make 200 prints, you can also do it. If you want to make the same print a month from now, the print would be the same, right? So there's a lot of benefits to that.
With the ability to print vibrant, photorealistic designs on flexible, self-adhesive vinyl, a new era had arrived. Businesses could finally transform entire vehicles into mobile billboards. The humble sticker had grown from tiny postage stamps to car-sized canvases. But this triumph came with hidden challenges. The very inks that made these vibrant graphics possible would soon reveal unexpected problems. Installation techniques were still primitive. The materials themselves would prove temperamental in ways no one yet understood. The industry had achieved the impossible, turning simple adhesive graphics into powerful tools of transformation. Yet the revolution was far from complete. What started as the penny black stamp had evolved into something extraordinary. But the greatest innovations still lay ahead. This was not the end. It was simply another chapter in the remarkable story of how stickers reshaped our world.